In this video, I'm going to be taking you through an entire day of my live trading. So I'm going to show you inside the process, the indicators and strategies that I use, as well as specific trade entries, exits, and sort of a look inside the mindset of what I'm looking for when I'm finding these trades. So you can sort of watch and learn from my trading. Okay, I've been day trading for 8 years now, documenting it on YouTube. I like to do these live trade videos to sort of show you what we're working on our trading team, so you can get a little bit of an insight as to what it looks like live day trading. Okay, so today I'm going to be doing things a little bit differently. I'm increasing the risk I'm taking per trade, and if we have a good trading day and all goes to plan, the goal is to make over 8K today. But now it's time to get a coffee, get set up, and get this trading session fully going. So before I dive into any trades, I want to set up my entire desk setup. So over here on my right monitor, I have 3 things. One, I have TradingView, where I'm going to be doing most of my analysis to enter these trades. I also have my exchange over here, which is going to allow me to get into these trades. Okay, and right here, I have my trade journal, where I'm going to be logging all of the information and tracking all of my data so we can see how we do for the day, as well as my step-by-step progression of how I'm going to follow through this session. So the next thing that I'm going to do is open up my calendar here on TradingView and check for any sort of economic news. You can see tomorrow we have a massively important meeting that could sort of establish interest rate decisions, which move the markets like crazy. But for today, we really don't have anything high impact until tonight. So should be a pretty normal open. Today, what I'm going to be looking for is pretty simple. So I'm going to be waiting for trend direction to establish. I'm going to be waiting for critical levels. And then once we have important changes in direction, I'm going to be waiting for what are called fair value gaps to be able to let price move into. I'm going to be targeting the middle of these fair value gaps based off of my technical analysis and my other confluences on my trades. I'm going to build positions around that and hopefully play moves into my direction by entering off of these high probability areas and using my strategy, my technical analysis to be able to end out on top. Of course, there's a lot more to it than that, but you're going to sort of see as I go what I'm thinking, what I'm doing, and we're going to see if we can end up positive on the day. Part of trading is really just keeping the risk really contained and allowing the trades to run as much as possible. If you can do that and have the discipline to not want to scramble to take trades off the table right away, and you're entering in good areas, controlling and reducing risk and letting winners run, that's really how you're able to get ahead. It's not rocket science, it's just hard to actually execute. That's why trading is hard, but we're going to get into that and I'm going to show you me doing it in real time. We'll see what happens throughout the day. That being said, let's hop into the charts and find trade number 1. Okay, so I'm in trade number 1 here. We're getting a nice push off of this area. You can see New York just opened. That's that dotted line here. Okay, what I'm looking for this type of setup is a few things. So I have my lows here that we're consolidating off of these levels as well. And then we got this big push up out of this level. So I was looking for some sort of pullback retest of this area, which was previously resistance turned, and then we get a big push, support off of that level into a potential run for the rest of the day. As soon as New York opened, we flipped out of this sort of bearish tendency to a bullish tendency. So once we got this pullback into this area, notice between these areas, we got this gap of price action into support. So this is a high conviction area for us to be able to get a push. Now, that doesn't mean that it's going to continue playing out, but if we are to be able to take a nice push on Solana right here, this is going to be a nice position for us. Like I said, I'm increasing my risk today. So it's a little strange for me to be risking a full 1,000 on this, but we are up a little bit over one risk factor, 1,300 on the day here. So hopefully we get a nice push. If this candle can close here, I'm going to go ahead and reduce risk to break even, right? I want to be able to lock in risk factors along the way. Actually, I might take some off of these trades at 1 to 2. I might actually trade like that today because I think it makes more sense. So I'm going to go ahead and close out half the position here. I still have the whole amount. So we got to wait for this to make another push up and then we're going to take some off the table. So really the goal with this is to be able to take profit along the way as price starts to move into our position. Okay, so basically what I'm going for is a 1 to 2. So you can see this is over 2 risk factors. Price is continuing to move up nicely, but at this level, I wanted to be able to take some risk off the table and lock it in. You can see we already locked in $683 in profit. So a little bit less than a full risk factor just due to slippage and stuff, but we are locked in and we're going to let the rest of it run. All right. And additionally, I just moved my stop loss to break even. So basically now I have a completely risk-free trade. If price is going to come back and retest this level, we'll contain that risk and we'll only make 683. But if this wants to continue running, we're just going to basically trail this trend now, see how high this price can push up. So now just have to let the trade develop and we'll see how this trade works out. So we did get a pretty nice push up over this level, but price is starting to sell off into this move here. We already have our profit locked in. It just would be nice to hold on to this extra bit, but it looks pretty volatile to the downside. So we'll see if we can sort of survive this pullback. Otherwise, we'll lock in the profit we've already secured and then keep it pushing for the rest of the trade. All right, I'm going to go ahead and bring my stop loss up to this level here. If we break underneath this low, I'm going to get out of the trade. I'm not really trying to watch this just trend against me. Volatile first trade type shit. This was a hard place for the price to break out of. Had resistance off of here, pull back, push up. And then we broke back underneath that level and left behind this fair value gap as well. So I wouldn't be surprised to see this roll off of this area. It's just if it can consolidate past it and get through it, it's also going to be really strong. I already have risk reduced off of this trade, so now I'm basically just waiting. So it was a hard area for the price to get through, but we were able to lock in $844 on the first trade. Looks like we're getting support off of our entry, which is fantastic. So now what I'm going to do is just go ahead and log in my journal, let the market sort of pick a new direction. We'll try to wait for a new trade setup, and then we're going to find trade number 2. All right, so I just got in on trade number 2 here. What I'm seeing is that we have our sell signal indicating sort of bearish price action. We also have this extremely important fair value gap that's getting retested again. The reason this is so important is because this is that level over here that had a hard push and then a rejection into. It's been rejected, price pushed up above it, rejected off of it, came down and is rejecting off of it again. So it's either price pushes way past this and ends up moving up, or we get a major response off this level for the rest of the day. So we're going to see which of those options it is, but this is still a really, really critical level to be entering in on. So I'm in on my trade number 2 here. Let's see if we can get a flip now. So looking at the chart, this fair value gap basically had a massive impulse through and a big candle to push above that. So it's not good. Price could come down, probably test into this area on this overall trend and then end up pushing up. Now, the thing with trading though, this also could not happen and we could end up moving back down into our direction for the day. Once I make a trade idea, I basically stick with it. But you start making decisions based off of, what you think is going to happen. You get it in your head a lot. So it's best to make a decision because this could very well not happen and it could not be respected. And this actually could hit off this level of weakness and then drop back down in my direction. So I'm going to let the trade play out. What I think is going to happen is it's going to hit this fair value gap and push through stop loss. What I'm hoping happens is it breaks fully down through. We're already up 800 on the day, so we'll only be down 200, basically break even. And then we'll just find the next trade, make it a quality setup. That's the game in trading. This is a reality. It's not like you can just step in, immediately make money every single time, or else everybody would just be crushing it with trading. You really have to master the ability to be able to think of sessions in this way. So that's what I'm trying to help you guys with and sort of reinforce in these videos. Let's sit back and hopefully this trade works out. And right as if by cue, the exact thing that I just said is happening. We didn't respond off of that level and now we're starting to dump here. So this is definitely a good look. Additionally, now we have this trend level to be retested again with a new fair value gap if this candle is to close bearish, which it looks like it should with the momentum. That's going to look really, really nice for this position as well. So to my point, we really don't know what's going to happen. It's just about putting ourselves in good position. So let's see what happens now. All right, just whiplash price action today. Probably break out of this high. I don't know how to read this anymore. Yeah, so it looks like price is going to trigger our stop loss and break highs. Why couldn't the long just stay filled? Why did the SOL have to be so volatile, man? We were already long out of the session right away. Like, we had a nice juicy long right here, and now we're breaking highs again. You just had to do that. Anyways, price is moving back up, so I think I might have to just let the market sort of determine direction and then sort of sit back and really look at what I'm doing. Super volatile right now, kind of unpredictable as well for myself. So, oh my God, bro. So I screwed up my stop loss order. I must have, because it didn't trigger and I was like watching it like, why didn't this trigger? And I ended up losing so much more on this trade. And now the market's ripping. I mean, I knew the long direction. I was wanting to be long for this session, but it's too volatile. So I'm booking a $1,400 loss off of that. Basically screwed up my stop loss position and the price moved against me a lot. So I had to close it out at market and I just got crushed on it. Negative 1462. So that puts us down 600 on the day and we're getting this massive run now. Had to follow the same process. Can't get psychological about it. So I'm going to log this trade here and then we'll find trade number 3. All right, so market started to trend really hard in this direction. I'm taking a G2 trade, which is what we call it on our trading team, which is more geared towards playing continuations in the market. So I've done some general analysis, and if this has a blow off top, I want to be able to take advantage of a dip with the right conditions into this current trend. So realistically, what I was waiting for is a bullish response off of this fair value gap, in addition to one other confluence keeps me following trends that I don't really talk about too much on YouTube. But if this is able to break over this high level here and continue forming a trend up, we're in good shape to be able to make a nice trade. All right, so market's starting to trend. We're up about 1,001 risk factor, which is good. So we'll see if we can continue pushing. Get a nice move here on SOL. Okay, so we're starting to get a nice push here. I just set my stop loss to my break even point here. So notice how we're getting a response off of 261.8 here. I missed my exit by a little bit. So I'm actually going to go ahead and take this position off. All right, so I took that position off because what I was looking at is basically doing Elliott wave analysis on this entire trend. This could blow and continue to move up higher to this second level here, but it's less likely than this being the top. So you'll see I have my 1, 2, 3, 4, wave 5. Top of 3 is responding off of 161.8 really nicely, which to me indicates if we get a response off of 261.8 that also is going to potentially be a top when we have the 5 wave as well. So we'll see how far that moves past it, in which case we would target this level next. But if this continues moving up, this is going to open up an opportunity for us on the short side as well. We just have to wait depending on the momentum in the market. But either way, we were able to lock in 1495 on this trade. So I'm going to go ahead and journal that. So now we're basically back up to up 1 risk factor on the day, including the mistake I made on my trade, and we have a 66% win rate. So let's see what happens with this move, and then we're going to try to take another trade off. All right, so I wanted to make sure that I had this position fully set up before I turned the cameras on, but I do have Solana here. You can see breaking off of that level that we exited on before because of that 261.8. So now I have confirmation of this Elliott wave working because of that, which we predicted. Okay, so now I'm going to be looking to take positions either into this level if it wants to come up to the stop loss, or this level a little bit earlier, because I don't want to miss out on a full swing down if the market is to sort of respond off this level. So I have a feeling price will come up into here, eventually break down, and if we're able to get 9 risk factors on this with 1,000 risk, that's going to be almost 10,000 on the day right there. So that will put us up over 10k on the day, which is going to be insane for me if this actually happens. So I'm just going to follow my process as I normally do with money out of the picture, and we'll see if we get filled right here, which looks like we will in a second, unless it's going to miss it. I hope not. I mean, it's a juicy order. Oh no. I mean, I set my position up. I can't blame myself. It's not like I missed. If this does drop from here, it's just missed. Yeah, we'll see if this fills. So you can see we just missed this entry and then had like a really nice push down at one point. Position was up 5R. So we would have locked in another risk reward factor there, but then ended up coming fully up. So I'm already in another trade here, and you can see this is always really what I'm looking for, right? I want to find these underside retest areas on this trend where contact point, breakdown, underside contact point here into 61.8. Fair value gap. I was trying to get an entry there, but I missed it. So I got an entry after we saw a capitulation off of this next area. So I'm hoping for a break underneath this low and a continuation of this sort of sell-off into this critical area. All right, if we do get a push down off of this area, this looks extremely good for us. So I'm waiting for this level to break next and see if we can have a full rollover. I was a little too slow to be able to get into this. This is really probably going to be one of the golden positions to have been in for the rest of the day. This is literally all of my confluences lined up. This is a little bit less ideal entry, but we're still going to try to take the trade down, hopefully. So yeah, now we can see if we're going to be good. We're up 700 and see what happens. Getting a nice push now. I would love just a momentum shift in the day. If we can break underneath this low here, that's going to be just amazing. But I am going to be waiting for that 1 to 2 to fully break, which looks like we're about to have right now. So I'm going to go ahead and reduce risk again here and then take partials off of this, close out 1,000 here. So I locked in 1,000. All right, so now we got more position on the table. Set my stop loss to break even. All right, so trade starting to move nicely here. Imagine if we were short up here. Kind of the name of the game with trading, but we had 1, 2, 3 ideas now back to back play out, which I'm really grateful for, right? We weren't able to get filled in these other 2 ones, but it's good to see that the ideas are actually coming to fruition and working out, and that this sort of strategy, as well as one of my proprietary indicators, was indicating that this is a new entry and this is rolling off nicely. So we're up 2,400 total, 14 on the part that's left over. Now we're going to trail this down and see if we can get a big dump. Starting to come down and break underneath this level here, which is looking really, really good for us. So hopefully we can get some better momentum to the downside. Hoping for resistance now and a roll off. That's going to be just perfect for us. Starting to get a really, really nice push down. So I'm going to move my stop loss into profit here. And we are at the 61.8 of this overall trend. I want to trail this, but I'm also just going to move my stop loss well into profit here. So I'm going to put my stop loss down into the money. So if we do get a bounce off of 61.8, which is typically how Elliott wave works. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, A, B, C. This C wave typically retraces down to where 4 is, and you can see once again 61.8 was hit. So if this wants to pop off 61.8, I'm out of the trade here, and we've locked in 4 risk factors. Otherwise, I'm just going to continue to trail this down. So now we got to see if we're catching more momentum. I think this is going to be a bounce area here. So I'm going to take this trade off now. All right, so we're fully out of this trade. I think we'll probably bounce off of this area. So we're able to lock in 6 risk factors. So between our 2 positions, we locked in 1132 on the first one, and then a little over 3,000 on the second one. So we ended up with a total profit of 41.55, which is really, really good. So it looks like we're going even lower, which honestly, I think we'll get eventually some support along here. If it was going to be in one of these areas, I thought, unless we're just going to reverse the whole day. Doesn't matter, we're already out now. So we got another win on the books, 75% win rate, which is really, really good. So we're starting to bounce now off of the 78.6 level. All right, so currently that puts us at a 75% win rate with just over $5,000 locked in for the day. So I'm going to switch gears a little bit. I'm going to make some phone calls, get some lunch. We got mentoring with the private team, so I'm going to meet with them at 6 p.m. But until then, I'm going to get some deep work done and find trade number 5, hopefully. We're doing really well in the day. All the calls have been really, really dialed, so hopefully we can continue to leverage this and hit our daily goal. So I just entered trade number 5 here. I was waiting for price to sort of make a move or make a decision. What I noticed is we had the price sort of coiling here at this area and then finally broke underneath this to come up back and sort of test this as resistance. There's a lot of, you can see support, 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 broke underneath it. If this tests this as resistance again and then drops, we're going to be looking at another fade for the afternoon. So I'm hoping that this is able to sort of flip down and continue in our direction. Otherwise, I'm going to look for a long here. We have some buffer room here. We have 5 trades basically in the bank P&L wise, so I can just sort of be a little bit more risk on and really go for it. So I'm taking a short here. Let's see how it goes. So I just got stopped out of that short. I'm going to book that as a full loss in a second, but we did end up breaking out of this upper level, which is what I was sort of honestly waiting for. So if price comes down and tests into this zone again, this is going to be a really, really good entry area on a technical analysis front to be able to get long for the same reason, right? Support, broke underneath, broke out to the upside now. If it tests it, I think it's going to really launch and continue trending up for the day. So hopefully I'm able to tap into this entry with my position. It's starting to come down a little bit. Let's see if we can get filled. So these are the markets are still active, so I don't want to like stop opening myself up for opportunity and start breaking for lunch, and then it drags on. All right, so we're in now, set up our take profit. So getting a good response initially. Now we need this level to flip, and genuinely, if we can get momentum, this could trend for the rest of the day, just sort of continue going, which is exactly what I'm looking for. That is the response that I do want to see. We're getting a break over that high here. So as soon as this candle closes, I'm going to reduce my risk. Also, once we hit a 1 to 2, I'm going to take off half the position, lock in some profits on this, hopefully. So just waiting now. All right. Wow, big move up. So I'm going to go ahead and take off 900 shares. All right, so I locked in 865 after fees, and now we're trailing with the rest. So I'm going to go ahead and reduce my risk back down to break even now. Really, really nice. So now I have a risk-free trade. If price comes back down, we're good. We have already locked in 800, but now I'm just going to see how long we can trail this. All right, so we got out for a small additional profit here on top of the 800. So we were able to make a little over 1,000 on this trade here, which is nice. It would have been nice if we pushed up a little bit higher and just close out the session with a juicy win. All right, so our P&L is back up to around 5K. And I'm taking so many more trades than I'm used to taking in a session, honestly, but there's a lot of really good setups. So I'm going to go ahead and journal, catch up on all this, grab lunch, and then I'm going to see where the market's going to take us to find another trade opportunity. But once again, we're killing it. We're still making mistakes, missing trades, losing trades, but it's about allowing those winners to run and reducing risk like I always harp on. So we're doing well today. I'm trying to step away from the charts, but there's just like too many good opportunities here. So the chart's now forming a bullish pattern here. We're just starting to break out of this level and retest it into this fair value gap. I was a little late to my entry. I'm just long here, slightly more risk on the table than I want. But if we get a push, this is going to be a big one out of this level. Response off of this area, which is a critical area for the rest of the session. Also have price responding off of here as well. So looking to see if we can get some momentum now. All right, so starting to get our push up now, breaking over this high level and getting some momentum. We're up 1,400. I'm just waiting to go up to R again. This should be a hard area for us to get to, which it's at right now. So I'm going to see how it does. Okay, blew through it, no problems. I missed my risk reduction there, so I'm just going to give it some time to play out. So we missed the other fill here, but we got a really nice contact point off of this bottom area. We triple touched it, and then we had this big impulse candle. So off of this trend break here, I'm expecting we could at least come up and touch the underside of this trend here. So I'm looking for price to sort of seek into this area. That would be 5.7R, where we're up about 1R right now. It looks like we're about to get a nice pop in our direction. Looking for some big momentum now. This could be good. All right, bringing my stop loss into 0 here. So we're risk-free trade now. It's a hard one to hold. Just the time of the day and how big the position is and how much of a snipe it was. All right, so I just took the trade off the table here. I have mentoring with the team here in a little bit, so I want to be able to lock in this trade. I don't want to be sitting in it. All said and done, we made $3,347, which brings us up to $8,200 on the day. So I'm going to get in our premium team meeting. Okay, we're going to go over the trade so far from the day. I'll be taking questions from students. Then I'm going to hit the gym, get some deep work in, maybe find a few more trades, and we'll see where the rest of the day takes us. I would love to get over 10K in profit. This is the first day increasing risk. I think I did it really carefully. I'm pretty happy with the fact that we took that trade off a bit early, kind of like a nice little gift. We'll get in the call, and then we'll see what happens later. Okay, so it's after mentoring. I was looking at this ETH chart. We're starting to get some weakness overall in the market. I've been watching this trend sort of develop over time. We have lows coming in, lows testing closer and closer. We got a break in a change of character here now officially, but price is starting to once again sell off of that predicted area that I already have my order in for. So it looks like at the moment it's missing, but I'm waiting for price to potentially come up and test this level still. I still have the order open, so I haven't given up on hope yet necessarily on this. It would have been nice to already be in this trade and already be up, what is it, like 1.5 risk factors already. So I'm going to see if this develops, wants to come up and retest this level again. Otherwise, we'll have to find another trade opportunity. It's about 5:30 right now, so it's actually closer to 6. I'm going to hopefully get into another trade, hit the gym, and then eat some dinner, come back and hopefully wrap up the session, do some work. We'll take a look at the data from the whole day. Maybe it's not over. Price came back up to fill this level. Now, what I'm hoping doesn't happen is that this catches momentum and now tests the trend again, or this level, in which case could be not so good. But I'm in a little bit prematurely on this. The fill was bad. It's ETH. It's a little weird. So we're going to see how this plays out. Hopefully we get a push down. All right, so unfortunate, we have another loss here, and it's actually for a little bit more than I was hoping for. So a little bit annoying because I was hoping I would be able to wrap up here, but that's the reality of trading. I was trying to push it. So I just journaled all the trades here. I'm at a 55% win rate, still doing well on the day, but I really want to see if I can have one juicy trade to finish out the session. So I'm honestly willing to chew into my profit on the day here, see if I can have a good outcome. I do need to go to the gym at some point, so I'm going to set the charts up. Realistically, I'm waiting for some sort of short here. I wanted to see this level break, so if we can and I can get some sort of short going, I'm gonna feel really good about that. Now we have to wait. I was waiting for this trend level to break, like I was saying before. It finally did. It retested this level a few times. On the third time, I decided to hop into this trade. Okay, so I put a pretty tight stop loss here. All right, so I'm already up a little over 3 risk factors, so we're up about $3,500 on this trade. I'm not taking the risk off the table here. Okay, I'm just basically going to reduce stop loss back down to the entry, but I'm going to go for a home run. It's the end of the session. I think we can go down to probably this area, I would say, for our take profit. Okay, and that's going to give us about a 1 to 7, so that should be closer to 7,000 in profit. So I'm hoping we can get another push down here and sort of a capitulation on Solana here into the afternoon, but looks pretty good. We're up 3,800. Let's see how this trade goes if we can push lows here. All right, so I just locked in 6,500 right at the support level here, over 1 to 6 risk reward ratio on this trade. Really had a nice response off of this level. This could definitely drop lower, but I was seeing that price was about to reverse. Now we're moving up, so that was a good call. All right, so that puts us way up over our goal for the day. So I'm going to hit the gym, get dinner, and we're going to go over and take a look at all of our data for the day and see what we ended up with. All right, so I'm back from the gym. This is absolutely insane. Okay, so I was targeting this area here with that equal low. Price came down, touched my exact level, and then did this, which would have caused us to completely get stopped out of the position. And now the market's basically just whiplashing around. Okay, but we were still able to hit this 1 to 6 trade, which brought our daily P&L up like crazy. Okay, so I'm gonna eat something and then let's get into the data and breakdown of exactly how I did today. Okay, so today I actually took more trades than I've ever taken in a day trading session, which is weird because this was the day that I increased my risk. So I'm gonna sort of go through and just show you all the trades that I took and kind of stack this up over the session and see what we ended up the day with. Okay, so first trade out of New York. Okay, we had a push up. We had this area that I wanted to get long into. Okay, I took half off up here, and then price came back down, ended up triggering our reduced stop loss. Okay, and after fees and everything, I locked in $844 on that trade. Next trade came in. I got a sell signal up here. Okay, in off of this level, I waited for price to come back up, test it. We got a big push up here, dipped back down into our range, and then actually broke up over this high. Didn't reduce any risk, took a full loss on that trade, and then actually had a mistake with my stop loss. So I ended up losing $1,462 on that trade, which brought us down on the day. So that brought us to trade number 3. I was waiting for this overall trend to sort of develop. Okay, in the process, I played something called a G2, which is a continuation strategy off of this sort of candle push fair value gap and then continuation. I was able to time the exact top based off of my Fibonacci projection. Okay, then price ended up coming back down and reversed. Okay, I was trying to get in here and play this move to the downside, so I ended up missing that trade. All right, I tried to also get in at this area, which would have been an even crazier trade to the downside, right? But ended up missing, so I got in at the next best option right here. I was able to pick this perfect area and trade this down into this area. Took profit off a little bit early technically, but still got a push down to 78.6 and took profit off. Okay, and on this trade, I was able to make 4,155, and after reducing risk was about 6.3 risk factors. Next trade, I was hoping that the market would sort of move in this direction. Once it broke underneath this level and made this push, I got short right into here. Price pushed up and triggered a full stop loss. So trade number 5 was a loss. Okay, once I saw this break to the upside, I immediately flipped my bias into this area. Notice how we had support here, support along these areas. Price dips into this and continued up. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to reduce any risk, and this came down for a full loss here before eventually making a move up, which is frustrating, but I lost $1,287 on this trade. Okay, then I tried to play this to the upside again. So I got an entry here, price pushed up, I reduced risk, locked in a risk factor, and then ended up locking in about $1,100 on this trade. So I was sort of going back and forth. Okay, then I switched over to ETH. I wanted this trend level to break down. Okay, I was originally trying to target this area. We kind of failed off of there. I took a later short, and we got some chop back and forth, and then price pushed up against me and continued moving up. Now, I think this is important to note. If I didn't have stop losses placed at this area, think about how much you could lose just by trying to hold trades or not have discipline where you know you're going to enter before you're getting into trades. Something really, really important. So I did take another loss on there. All right, then I found another trade opportunity on Solana where I noticed this low being produced, a double touch of that low. We broke aggressively out of this downtrend with this candle, so I was able to tap in on the opposite side of that trend, retest. I was hoping that this would just sort of trend up for the rest of the day, but didn't really get that. Okay, was able to trade this up, almost took half the position off, and then actually just ended up closing this trade out because I had to get into mentoring. All right, and then it proceeded to just dump down to entry. So it was actually kind of lucky. Made 33.47 on this trade, and then I was stalking this trend for the rest of the session. So we had contact point, contact point, contact point. Finally had a break level, got in here on the retest of this area, and then price came back down to this consolidation area, critical area. So I took my profit off for about 6 risk factors. I had a really tight stop loss, a really juicy trade. I was able to make $6,100 on this trade. Okay, so I think it's really important to note 40% of the trades that I took, meaning 4 out of 6 trades, were all wrong, and I lost money on those. Okay, so I was wrong 4 times today. So I was right only about half the time today, but because I was able to keep these risks so small and so compact, and I was locking in profit along the way and then allowing big winners to actually run, you can see I had $4,100, 33, and then 61. Okay, I was able to actually have one of the biggest trading days that I've ever had with this strategy at making around $11,000, which is honestly insane for me to think about. But I think it's important because I was showing you execution in real time, ideas that I was finding in real time. This is just something that takes practice and implementation over and over. And that's what we're focusing on here. That's what I've dedicated my life to doing. And I think it's really fun to make the the content, sort of show you guys inside this. Obviously, it's nice when it works out. Not every single day is going to be good, but it's nice when it does. Okay, if you want to watch other videos of me doing them, I'm going to link them right here. Subscribe to the channel if you like these videos and want to know when I put other ones out. And make sure you like and comment. Let me know if you like what I'm doing. Okay, if you want more insight, you can follow me on Instagram and TikTok. Till next time, I'll see you all in the next one.